What up? What up? What up? What up? Oh, we are live. Thank y'all for joining us. We're going to get started here in about 5 minutes. We're going to post a link on all of our media. Sit tight, enjoy some music. Check us out.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Oh, live right now. Hit that link. Join us. Facebook. Oh. Yeah, thank y'all for tuning in. We're going to get started here in just a second. Thank y'all for being patient. We appreciate it. Have your drinks, got that popcorn. You ready? Because it's going to be a good one. You hear what I say? You hear what I said?
Camera run.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, camera what?
1. Camera 2. Camera 3. Camera 4. Camera 1. Camera 3. Camera 4.
I'm lost in all the cameras. So we're ready whenever you are. Yes, yes, y'all. Yes, yes, y'all. We are live.
That's my thumbnail.
Yes, there we go. What's up, y'all? Thank y'all for joining the BreakEFX podcast. We are on episode number 18. 18! And we have with us tonight Kevin Yu.
Yo!
What?
Yo!
FOCO FLAVA. Yo. FOCO FLAVA. Mighty ROCKMOREZ in the house. We're excited to have you. What's up, man?
Nothing, man.
Cheers.
With that big Thor glass right there.
I know, dude.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Kinda-
it came proper.
It's like it looks like it's the camera angle, but watch.
Ooh.
Just kidding. But for real, no, what? No.
I love it, man.
Awesome.
I love it, man. Thank you for joining us tonight, man. All love. Man, how you been?
Good. Just kicking it on a Friday night, taking it easy. How you guys been?
We've been good. Yeah, we've been good, man. Hey, get your stuff out of there. Yeah, man, we just been chilling, man, here at the spot, man. Just, just doing our thing, hanging out. You know, same old stuff, just doing these podcasts. And man, I'm excited to have you on here tonight and learn a little bit about how everything started up north. Everything started up north. I'm excited. I can't wait.
Winter's coming up north.
Up north. Oh man.
Up
King of the
north. The north. It's
Hey, man, we're doing
cold up here
Yeah, we gotta.
in the north.
Yeah, King of the North. Yeah. But yeah, man, right on for joining us, man. Everyone tuning in on YouTube, thank you for joining us. Make sure you guys leave some comments in there. We will definitely give some shout outs. Oh, I already see Phil's in there. B-Boy Phil, what's up? Troy's in there.
This?
Mantis,
Phil this?
what?
Phil this?
Yeah.
I just did.
Hey.
Oh.
We're super excited, man. So give us an introduction of yourself, man. Who are you?
Oh man, that's a deep question, bro. Dang, man, just starting it off like that.
Yeah, I mean, just just who are you? What crews do you represent? You know,
Okay,
give
where
yourself a little
you
introduction.
from? Just give yourself a proper introduction.
I'm
you know,
from Korea.
Ooh.
I was born, and here I am. That's my life story.
Yeah,
Just
thank y'all
kidding.
for joining us tonight. We had a great time. We'll catch you next week.
Yeah.
Peace out. It was a good podcast. All right.
All right, that was great, man.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm living in Fort Collins since like 2005. I mean, I didn't come onto like the dance scene until like later. I feel like you all been, in the scene like, so I still feel like a baby, to the scene, to be honest. But like, cause like I didn't start dancing until like 2000 like 8 or 2010ish, So
Yeah,
like
that's still a while ago.
it's been like 10 years, but like, I mean, y'all been like repping it in the scene for like, twice that long. So like, I still feel like when people are like, where you come from, like, when did you start dancing? I'm like, yo, you guys probably been like, been there way longer than I have. And I'm like, where did you come from? How long you been dancing? Who are you? Tell me your story. Like,
Hey, man, you may not have been dancing long, but you definitely made an impact here in Colorado in the community, man. And that's why we wanted you on the show, man, because we respect you and what you've done, up there with your crew and for the community, So you may have only been dancing, not as long as people, but you've made just as an impact as some other people and ourselves,
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, like it's like kind of like humbling to hear that from you guys, because like you guys were like my inspiration when I was like a kid, and when I say like I'm a kid, when I was like 30 years old. When I was a kid. so I mean, yeah, thank you guys for being my inspiration. So hella dope to like come full circle,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, so like, I mean, for Fort Collins, like, man, there's so much like history to Fort Collins hip hop, and like a lot of it came before my time. So I want to like just like give like some props to like our Fort Collins forebears,
Yeah.
like, so I mean, as far as like I can go back to is about 2001, and our homie Mitch, aka Boston, came from Boston, and like his sister was going to school at CSU, so he came out like to Fort Collins to kick it as well.
Yeah.
And he met up with our homie Phil, aka Phil this, aka the professor.
Yeah.
And they were kind of like the originators of the B-boys in Fort Collins at the time in 2001. Like, in 2001, man, it's crazy because like, I mean, like I grew up in Aurora, And like, you know, when I grew up in the 90s, like breaking, b-boying, hip hop, like that scene wasn't like, to me at least, was not there. Like, I mean, we were a bunch of like, you know, like grungy, like metalheads playing our guitars, like, you know, like playing in rock bands and shit, you know, like, like I didn't even know about like breaking and shit, man. Like, you know, but like back in the day though, you know, I would always still like, you know, appreciate the old school hip hop. And I guess it wasn't old, like at the time it was like modern day hip hop, but like, you know, like I was always like part of that scene. But like in terms of like breaking and b-boying, like the dance scene, like that, to me, that like in 2001, like that wasn't there. Maybe it was, and maybe I just didn't see it. But like 2001 in Fort Collins, our homie Boston comes to Fort Collins, and he grew up in Boston, like, you know, like, and learned like breaking, like from what he told me, just learning in the streets, you know, like doing windmills on concrete. And like he came out here and like, man, this dude could do like, you know, no-handed double halos both directions, like power, like flares both directions, like any power move, like, you know, this guy can do. And that was like a crazy thing, you know, because like back in 2001, you know, like, you know, I feel like, you know, not a lot of people are like doing that kind of shit, you know. So like he came out and met up with Phil, and that was kind of the start of Mighty ROCKMOREZ. And when I asked Boston, I was like, yo, like, how did you come up with that name? And he was like, yo, like, you know, like I came from like, you know, the old school, and like I just wanted like that kind of old school vibe of like, you know, when I think of like old school vibe, like I think of like Rocksteady. And so like that's kind of like where Mighty ROCKMOREZ came from, is like I kind of wanted to like name this crew, like have it like this old school feeling. And so when I talked to him about that, I was like, yo, where'd you like come up with that name? And he was just like, yeah, that was kind of my inspiration for it. So that was like back in 2001, I was like kind of like the start, like the birth origins of like the crew back then. So, and at that time, we started having like, I wasn't living there at the time, so this is just like kind of recollection of like people who have like lived there. And from like talking to these homies at that time, and they were saying like, you know, around that time, a bunch of Soul Mechanic homies like Matt Rocco, like Eric Scenario, like Alan, bunch of like homies from like Springs came up to CSU for school. And you know, they kind of like, you know, they're during their like 4-year tenure, you know, at CSU, kind of like started like this big, you know, hip hop scene. And like they, you know, over like the 4 years, like they lived at CSU in Fort Collins, you know, they, you know, got like the CSU hip hop club going. And at that point they recruited so many like different like hip hop heads just living in Fort Collins that like, you know, never knew like, you know, like this kind of like dance and this kind of scene existed. And that was kind of like the birth of like, you know, CSU hip hop at that time. And one of the like kind of grand things that they did during their time was throw like some jams. And one of like the bigger ones was called Higher Grounds. And like I wasn't part of it, like I didn't know, like, yeah, like I said, like at that time, like I didn't even know like this whole scene was like, you know, firing up. But like to this day, like when I ask people about like Higher Grounds, they're still like, yo, like that was like one of like the best jams ever to happen in Colorado. And it was thrown by CSU Hip Hop Club. Like they you know, like through the university, you know, like if you're at like a university, you know, like the university has like funds to like fund like clubs and projects. And so they, you know, they went through the university to get the funds to like throw this monstrous jam, and like got crews to like fly in from like all over the US, all over the world. And yeah, to this day, like some people are like, when they talk about Higher Grounds, they're just like, yo, that was like, you know, nuts. It was like one of the like the best jams like we've ever attended, one of the best jams we've ever been to. And you know, because like, you know, like you know, when you have like the money to like, you know, bring in crews, to like give a prize money, to like, you know, offer like b-boys a chance to compete. And you know, like it was a pretty, I think, dope thing at the time, because like, you know, there like wasn't too many like jams like that, you know. At least I might be wrong, but like, you know, yeah, I mean, like for like crews to come through and like to be able to like compete and do that. So yeah, that was like kind of one of their like, you know, like thing, like big crowning achievements to like kind of put Fort Collins, you know, on the map, you know.
That's
And
wild, man. But you missed it. The guys from the Springs came up and did their tenure at Fort Collins.
Oh, wow.
And that's how the Fort Collins hip hop.
Yeah.
What was the group called that up in Fort Collins again? I'm sorry.
it was just they just started like a CSU hip hop club, and yeah, it was run by like Matt Rocco, like Eric Scenario, Alan Hatea, like Brooke Schneider, I don't, yeah, just like when I came to Fort Collins, like a lot of those like homies had moved away, and I had just met like Brooks, I had just met like Alan, and they were kind of like the remnants of like the last guys still living in Fort Collins. But yeah, so like I think it was around like 2002 to like 2000, or like maybe 2001 2002 to around 2005 to 2006, like, you know, all the Soul Mechanic homies kind of like you know, they started graduating and like kind of moved out of Fort Collins. And like by the time like I got to Fort Collins, like, you know, the scene was starting to like die again, you know, because like, you know, all the Soul Mechanic homies kind of like built this huge thing up, and then like there was like kind of no one like, you know, afterwards to kind of like take up the mantle and like, you know, pass on the torch. And so like by the time like I started I started grad school like at CSU around like 2005, and then like around like 2007 2008 is like kind of like when I started like dancing and stuff, and like was reaching out to like Fort Collins community to like, you know, see like, you know, who, you know, like I started like getting into like dancing, and yeah, but at that time, you know, like when I kind of like got up there, like kind of people were kind of like moving out, and like the like yeah, like along with like, you know, along with Soul Mechanic homies, like, yeah, I mean, I know like I talked to KO, you know, and he had been kicking in Fort Collins, and yeah, along with like KO, the Soul Mechanic homies, and like Phil and Mitch, you know, they kind of all like kind of formed this like scene in Fort Collins, and that kind of like hung around for a while. But then yeah, as people started moving away, like the scene kind of like died out. And like when I kind of like got there, you know, I was kind of like looking around for it, and then like a mutual friend of ours, like Morgan, like introduced me to Phil, and then like me and Phil hooked up, and then we started like, you know, like jamming and vibing. And at that time, like yeah, I just started like breaking like from like YouTube videos and stuff, you know, and I had no idea what I was doing.
That's
and,
funny.
like,
What was the first time you seen hip hop? What was your first experience
so
with it?
okay, so like this is like, I always like, man, I like, this is like, it's such a like cliche but and like stupid story, but like you know, like, and like every time I tell this, I'm like a little embarrassed, you know, but like
Tell it.
Oh, so okay,
Yeah.
so like, you know, like the first time like I actually like saw saw shit like about like breaking, you know, is like I was watching Step Up 2, you know. Like, but okay, it wasn't like the movie. It was from like, okay, in the like before, like so the opening scene is Step Up 2. They do like a bunch of clips from the Freshest Kids, right?
Yeah.
And like in that scene, like, you know, I see like this B girl like throwing some swipes, and I was like, what the fuck she doing? That's crazy. Like, I gotta like learn that. I gotta try that. That was so dope. And that was like for my memory, like the first, like I always like going out and just dancing like at the clubs, but like when I saw that, like that was to me like the game changer. I was like, what's she doing? And actually, I think it was Asia One. I think it was a clip of Asia One and Fresh Kiss that they pulled into the movie.
Yeah.
I gotta ask her. Like, I gotta ask her one of these days. But I think it was Asia One, and I saw that, and I was like, whoa. And then like I suddenly like started like YouTubing. Like I was like, what's that like move that she's doing? And that was like actually like the first kind of like move I learned, and then from there like I just started YouTubing like B-boy tutorial, like
Yeah. Hey,
no.
that's like the birth of YouTube too back then, right?
And like for me, and that was like back in like 2007, 2008ish, around that time. And that was kind of so like I was just like a fresh baby, and like I said, like I grew up like it just wasn't like I grew up in Aurora and like not knowing any of this.
Yeah.
And I just think it's like crazy. Like the first time I see this is like watching like fucking Step Up 2. Like, come on, like, it's a little embarrassing. It's a little embarrassing,
Hey, we all have our starts, right?
That's my embarrassing like secret origin story. But like from there, I was like practicing like every day, like Googled like 100 like YouTube tutorials how to do swipes, and then I was like, oh yeah, like gliding looks pretty cool. And then like I learned how to like glide, and then I don't know, it just kind of like launched me into this like whole world of like dancing. And like, but like until like I met Phil, like I didn't really know what I was doing. And like Phil was like, Phil's like a hardened b-boy from like before 2000s, and like so like he kind of like took me under his wing. And then that's when I like really started to like train and like start to like learn shit and like culture. So that that was like around and it was kind of like Fort Collins was kind of experienced like kind of I feel like this like slump and like its own hip hop culture in terms of like like we had like this golden age of like all the Soul Mechanic homies and KO and being there when like and then like everyone kind of moved away from Fort Collins and like and like we kind of miss. I feel bad like because like I always hear the stories and like I feel like I always miss like this kind of golden age. But like despite all that, like we kind of started our own scene there, like like we like the same thing with like your friends and like the scene moving, people moving and like leaving like where you're like where you live, like it happens, especially in like a college town like Fort Collins. And like and I experienced the same things. Like all my homies that like used to live in Fort Collins, like they graduated and moved away, and I was just like there by myself. Like so like one night I was just like fuck it, I'm just gonna like go out by myself. And I just like went out and like started exploring some like clubs in Old Town, and I found this place called Luscious Nectar. It was like a hole in the wall.
That sounds awesome.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
I love
man,
that
it was
place.
like it turned out to be like the greatest find in Fort Collins, I feel like, because like it was such underground, like no one knew about the place. And like every weekend like people would come there, like the same crowd. And it was so dope because like people would come there like just dressed to the nines, like looking so good and like so fly and like totally something like you want to find in college town. And like and something was just magical about the vibe, the music, the bar, the drinks, like
the drinks.
What was it?
Cheers.
They had this drink. It was like a absinthe. It's like a something zombie. What was the name of it?
Oh my God.
Was it Adios Mofo?
No, it's the I don't know. It's a zombie, like something zombie.
Yeah,
I forget.
zombies.
But they had accents in it and everything. It's the real deal. I was like,
You're like,
yeah,
I don't remember. I don't remember.
2 drink minimum. No,
I don't remember. But okay, so like after all my homies moved away, I was like, all right, I gotta like find somewhere to like go and hang out and dance and went to the place and like man, they just like the DJs there were just amazing, like funk, hip hop, like electronic, like just like it's I feel like a lot of clubs you go to now, they're just playing like top 40, just music you just don't feel it, you go there and like you're like forcing yourself to dance or and have a good time, but like I said, something was magical about like the music being played and like the DJs like who's become like one of my like Fort Collins lifelong friends is like Chris, aka Blue Chris, aka Drifter. He was one of like the originator DJs in Fort Collins. Like he's been around forever, and like he's just like one of like the illest like DJs. Like he was always spending there Friday nights. Saturday nights was like our homie Marcus, and so yeah, I mean like between them and then our one of the homies from our crew, Jimmy Hands, who passed away a little while ago. Rest in peace, my friend. He like between like these three like guys and like some other homie DJs that came through, just like had the best music, the best drinks, the best vibes, and like I feel like from there like that was kind of like the birth of like like a different like age in hip hop for Fort Collins.
Yeah.
And for like 4 or 5 like years, that's kind of like where we live, that's like where we drank, that's where we like where we went to dance like 3 or 4 nights out of the week. And like yeah, for that time, that's like our go-to. And they closed down like around 2000 and I don't know, it closed down maybe like 5 years ago ish. But yeah, so I mean yeah, I mean since then, I mean like yeah, like we've been kind of like scrambling around like different venues, going to different places and dancing at different events. And but like I feel like that was that kind of like brought a lot of us together in terms of like to bring us back from that like that age, bring it back to that age when like all of our like soul mechanic homies were there and like made breaking such a dope thing in Fort Collins. And so I lied, like while I was going to grad school, like I walked into this building, right, and it was just like an administrative building, and I go in, I was like what is that music they're playing? It's so dope, probably like maybe 2000 like
Hey, hold on, you're covering your mic.
and yeah, I went in there, I went to this administrative building, and I see all these people like dancing, and like half the room is like swing dancing, and like the other half of the room they're like doing windmills and like breaking, and like they're listening to like hip hop, they're listening to like swing music, it's like going back and forth.
What? That's dope.
I was like, what the heck's happening? And then like in the middle of like the two groups, you had some people like swing dancing, some people like breaking, and then you had some people breaking and then swing dancing, and then you had some
Break swinging.
yeah, break swing. I was like, yo, and it was probably like one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I was like, what's going on? Like I talked to some of the people there, and they're like, yeah, we're the swing club and the CSU hip hop club, and they won't let us like, they won't give us like any like a venue where we can like 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 train. So we just do it here in this administrative building lobby. And I was like, and I just sat there and I was just like watching them. I was like, man, this is like freaking like amazing, like it was so dope to see that like collaboration between styles and like music, and, like, people, like, you know, everyone there was just like, you know, having a freaking ball. And it was just like one of the coolest things to see, you know, and like, and like seeing that, like, and then to like kind of have like this, like, you know, period where like that went away, you know, and that was kind of like an inspiration to like, for me to be like, you know, let's bring this back, you know, let's keep this going. And since then, like, you know, I met up with Phil and, you know, we revived Mighty ROCKMOREZ. And, you know, it's been like, it's tough, dude. Cause like I said, like in Fort Collins, like there's so few B-boys.
Yeah.
There's so few like hip hop heads. And like, I mean, there's like, don't get me wrong, like Fort Collins, there's like so many amazing dancers, but like everything's so like siloed off from like, oh, I dance at this studio. And then like other people are like, oh, I dance at this studio. And like other people are like, I only dance with like, you know, the CSU, like, you know, program. Like there's no collaboration. There's no like community, you know, everything's so like siloed and segmented that like, it's hard to like come into the scene, and it's hard to like find a scene, you know, because you gotta like know people who know people who's part of this group to be like, you know, like I want to dance, you know, and like, you come into it and you're like, I don't know anyone. And like, you're like, where do I go? Like, who do I dance with? Like, where do I dance? So yeah, it was like it's been like a lot of years where we had to like start breaking down those walls and start finding people. And the other tough part about it too, that, you know, like living in a college town is like, you know, we find people and then like, you know, we dance with them for like their time here, and then like they move away, you know, and then, you know, then we're like, you know, we're a crew of like 10 back to like a crew of like 4, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Damn.
So like, so like there's so much like churn here, but like it's really hard to like, you know, keep like a consistent scene going. And so like through the years, like, you know, we've grown and like we've evolved and we adapted. Like like when I started, like I was always just like breaking, you know, and it wasn't at the time when I went to Verve, like my very first Verve, and like I showed up in Boulder and I didn't know like what Verve was, and I showed up and like, you know, I saw some video of like, you know, BreakEFX, and I was like, oh dude, these guys are so dope, man. Who are these guys, you know? And I show up to Verve and like, you know, I got there a little late and I came to the front and I was like, yo, did BreakEFX guys perform yet? And like Chris Martin was there and he was just like, nah, man, we're BreakEFX. We haven't performed yet, man. And like, yo, he was like so like personable, and he was just like, you know, I didn't even know him, I never met him before, but he was just like, oh yeah, yo, what's your name? Like, you know, what do you dance? Like, you know, what do you do? And I just told him I was just like starting out breaking. And that's when he was just like, yo, like, yeah, just, you know, as you like start your dance, like, you know, keep training, you know, like keep your b-boy training, but like, you know, like some advice from me to you, you know, like keep training in other like fields of like hip hop, like choreo, like, you know, do it all. Like, don't just like only spend, you know, 7 days a week, like training like your flares and your windmills, like, you know, like dance everything, you know. And like, I didn't like, you know, like I took it in, but then I didn't come to appreciate it till years later when I was like, oh, okay. I get what he meant and like why he said that, you know. But that was like one of the first times, like, yeah, I went to that and like, you know, I saw you guys perform and like, man, I don't know. I was like 2000 and man, maybe like 2008, maybe something like that.
Oh shit. Okay. Like 12 years ago.
You have a good memory because I can't recollect stuff by you know, by at least year or date, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was like it was like a while, and like I remember watching like they did like the battle too, and I remember watching like White Boy battle in it for the first time. I was just like, who that? I was like, who that? You know. And so I mean, for me, like I said, like, man, like you guys have been doing it for so long, and like for me, I was just like coming into it fresh and being like, man, this is like amazing. But yeah, so yeah, for like years, like we've been, you know, in Fort Collins, like we got, you know, we've been kind of like evolving ourselves, you know, because like for the longest time, you know, we were just like Mighty ROCKMOREZ, you know, and like we just finding b-boys come, like, you know, b-boys, b-girls come break with us and get down with us. But you know, it kind of like we kind of like hit this like, you know, point where like, you know, there weren't as many b-boys, you know, coming through, but like, you know, there's so many other dancers, hip hop heads, you know, that like we started meeting up with. And you know, you know, we kind of like started like evolving from like, you know, we're not only just like this breaking crew, but like, you know, we've got like so many other styles that like, you know, just want to get on with us, you know, and that's kind of like where we, you know, started like FOCO FLAVA, you know, like we started FOCO FLAVA as like this like jam, you know, like, and you know, through the years gone down, like it's kind of like evolved into like, you know, like it's like this break battle, but like, you know, like now like we, you know, we started doing like house battles and all style battles. And we kind of like had to just be like, you know, we're not gonna like make it up in Fort Collins if we're just like, you know, just a b-boy crew recruiting b-boys, b-girls, and all we do is just sit around and do like windmills and flares and, you know, 6 steps. You know, we gotta like, you know, embrace and like, you know, like dance with other people, like, you know, of other styles. And you know, and so it's been kind of dope to see that like progression of like bringing other homies. Like I think like Floyd, you know, Floyd came in, you know, into our crew, and like, you know, like Floyd, like Haley, you know, like those homies came into our crew and kind of just like turned things up. Even like Jackson, you know, Jackson was a b-boy, but like, you know, he's just like, now he's just like a b-boy. And you know, like all I see that dude is like freaking like ballroom dancing, like locking and shit, you know. So it's kind of dope to like kind of take it from like, you know, we're down to like 3 b-boys in Fort Collins, you know, and we're either gonna like just be a b-boy crew, or we're gonna like, you know, be a family of like, you know, friends that like dance all styles. And so yeah, it was kind of like a weird transition where we were just like all right, you know, it was just, it was like a period. I don't know if you guys like have gone through it, but like a period, you know, like when you have like your training and practices and like, and it's not just like breaking anymore, you know, it's like, you know, you're training other styles and, you know, and like playing other kind of musics. And like I think one of the funniest like parts was like at one time like I started dating like my girl now, like Kristen, and she does salsa, you know. So like one of our crew trainings, I was like Izzy, you know, he's like my, you know, he's like my homie, you know. And I was like he, you know, Izzy my chamaco, you know. I was like, chamaco, like teach me everything you know about salsa. You know? So like,
that's awesome.
Like all of a sudden, like our like, you know, b-boy training, like, you know, like mills, flares turn into like people are like looking at us like, why are those 2 dudes like bachata and salsaing like on the linoleum? Like, what's going on? Like, you know, like, You know, everyone was like out and like we train at Outrun Parkour, and so like yeah, we have all these homies just like busting like double flips and like, you know, parkouring and shit, and then you have like these two dudes like just like grinding like passionately, you know, like bachata, you know, and that was kind of like, you know, like the one like kind of like the turn of things where we're just like, you know, like, you know, like sorry to like, you know, kill the vibe of like just power, but like there needs to be kind of like a breakthrough of like, you know, we got a lot of homies like that love house, we got a lot of homies that love salsa, we got a lot of homies that love choreo, that love like hip hop grooves, that love breaking, and like, and we're not, you know, we're not just gonna like, you know, limit ourselves to one style, to one like, you know, vibe of training. Like we kind of just want to open it up to everyone and be more of a community and not just a crew, you know. So we kind of like, well, you know, manifested that into our jam, FOCO Flavor. And last year, yeah, I mean, it was rough. Like last year would have been our fifth year doing it, and but we had some dope ideas planned. Like each year, like kind of we do a little different. Like, you know, it started out as like a breaking jam, and then like we added like house battles to it, you know, and then like we added performances to it, you know, and like, you know, we're kind of moving towards like, you know, Seven to Smoke, like all styles battles to it, and you know, like do like live performances to it, and it's kind of been evolving with the times. And so
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, fifth year, I mean, we're gonna try to do it again this year. We like August 28th booked in Old Town, so you know, fingers crossed, you know, gets vaccinated, you know, stay healthy, and we can like start doing some jams again this summer.
Right.
And I just wanted to say thank you guys to like, you know, keeping us all connected through like social media during like, you know, this time of like, you know, like separation. And, you know, I appreciate you guys, you know.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, brother.
Cheers. Cheers.
Yeah. That's coming.
So I mean, yeah, I mean we got pretty, it was like, I feel like prior to Corona times, like, man, we had like a really like consistent thing going. Like we would hit up like, you know, like three. What up, brother? Who that? Who that? Who that? Who that? Who that? Who that?
Yeah, we got Alex and Bobby in the house right now.
Doing a cameo.
Hey.
They're doing a cameo just to drop in real quick. We got Worm Tank in the house.
What up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, Alex, I saw the first time like I saw you battle was like at Verb in like 2008, maybe.
Long time ago.
We lad.
Man, we old.
2000, like niner,
When you put it like that.
something like that. I don't know.
That's
It
12
was
years
a while.
ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, we I don't know. It's been kind of like hard up here. Like we like prior to like Corona times, like yeah, we were like every week getting, you know, consistently together like 3 times a week. Like
Yeah.
Gracie kind of revived our CSU hip hop scene with like Hernan and Kylie, you know, and last year they threw like kind of like what was to be an annual jam called Vision, and I was like really dope. And then we had plans to do it again last year, and it kind of got shut down because of Rona. And we've been like we would have like nightly community classes going on at Outrun Parkour like every Tuesday nights, and then we'd be training on the weekends. And yeah, it was just like amazing to see, like, you know, every class, every community session, we just see more and more people coming through and see more of the same faces coming through, and we were, you know, kind of building this up, and then we kind of had like the rug pulled out from under us, and like and we haven't like really had a you know, a venue to practice at, and we, you know, I've been like, I'm MIA too, like I've just been like taking
I see you in your basement killing it.
yeah I go into my basement, and like I've been taking
it.
care of my parents during like, you know, Corona times because their health's not too good, and so I've been trying to like quarantine myself a whole bunch because like I can't like, you know, get my parents sick, and so I mean, like I've been kind of MIA, and but you know, the dope thing to see about all this, like, you know, Fort Collins through this time is like everyone is still like so motivated. You know, we're always just like, where can we practice? When can we practice? Like, when's the weather good out? Because like we'll roll out the linoleum at the park, and we'll get together and like dance, and like, and we'll meet up when we can, like where we can.
Yeah.
And so we're just kind of like laying low and just waiting for that time when we can
Get back
together and like, you know, kick it again. So, and I feel like a lot of that is like, you know, a lot of Colorado too, because it's been hard, you know, without like jams. And like I think the only jam like I went to last year was like Block Party, and I was just like so thankful, like, you know, they threw like, you know, a social distance safe jam, and you know, we could at least do one, you know what I mean?
One happens.
Just do one. We'll just do one.
Do one.
That's
Just do one.
groundbreaking
Just do
though,
one.
too. I mean, it gave everyone
Hope.
hope and a blueprint to do it the right way.
Yeah.
You know, so. But speaking of FOCO Flavor, and you know, it being the 5th FOCO Flavor this year, how did FOCO Flavor come into existence? Like the actual jam.
Yeah, so like, man, I used to go to Dance to Live's outdoor jam called Spirit of Hip Hop.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I was just like, I thought it was like the dopest thing, like outdoor jams, you know, and like being outside in the middle of summer doing this, you know. And like sometimes I'd like go out to California, and they'd have like jams outdoors like every weekend, you know.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted that in, you know, Colorado, you know, just to be outside, you know, because like, yeah, just being outside and like like not being like, you know, a studio room, you know, not being like, you know, like a venue, just being outside and like, you know, rolling out the linoleum and like getting out there and dancing. And that was kind of like the motivation. And for us, like, yeah, we threw like we were throwing like a bunch of annual jams, you know, just because like we're so kind of like isolated from everyone up here. So we're just like, man, I'm so sick of driving to Denver every weekend. Like, let's throw some jams up here, you know. So we started out with like annual jams, like invisible breaks, and we throw jams at the Bboy Factory with Ian and AL, like our Halloween jams, and so like throwing those jams kind of like, you know, gave us like the motivation, the experience to be like, yo, we want to throw like a big summer, like, you know, hullabaloo, you know, in the middle of Old Town, where we can like actually have people from Fort Collins. Because like when we threw these jams Fort Collins, like there would always be like homies from Springs, Boulder, Denver, you know, coming up to do the jam. And like then we'd have like 2 people from Fort Collins, you know. And so like we wanted to like throw a jam where, you know, we're like we actually have like people from Fort Collins coming to a Fort Collins jam, you know. And so what better way to do that than like throwing it in the middle, in the heart of like Fort Collins, which is Old Town, you know. And so for like weeks leading up to months leading up to jam, we'd be like, you know, street performing, spreading the word, and slowly but surely, yeah, like after, you know, 5 years, like, man, we'd have like such a great like crowd, Fort Collins crowd, and along with like the rest of our like community, like Colorado hip hop community coming through, but actually like, you know, have like people from Fort Collins, like, you know, get to like feel what like, you know, what we feel as being part of like a Colorado hip hop community and a culture, and like actually bringing that to people in Fort Collins. And that was kind of like the motivation for it. And yeah, I mean, like I love just like, you know, being out. Like when I went to Spirit of Hip Hop, I just love that vibe of being outside and like dancing outside and getting down. And so I kind of wanted to like try to do that in Fort Collins, you know. And so that was kind of like, you know, where like FOCO Flavor came from. And like, you know, as it went by, like I think like we kind of like do things differently in Fort Collins, you know, like we're kind of like more like laid back up here, you know. And you know, we love our outdoors, we love our river, we love our drinking, and you know,
drinking on the river.
Drinking on the river. And like I wanted to like bring people up, you know, from like all over Colorado to be like, yo, check out like, you know, how we live in Fort Collins, because like, you know, even though like we're so far apart from everyone, like I want to bring people up and like be like, you know, this is what it's like up here, you know, it's dope, you know, like come kick it with us, come, you know, feel our vibe, feel our energy. And it's been so fun like having like having some like our hip hop heads from our community come up. Like it, I think one of my favorite parts is like our tubing down the river trip every year for the jam. And like everyone always comes up to do it, and like they always think it's gonna be like, oh yeah, man, like lazy river, like you know, it's gonna be so relaxing, you know, it's gonna be great. And the first time I took Chi down it, like, you know, he shows up with like his girl Ton, and like, you know, they, you know, in true Asian style, like, you know, they bring like a backpack full of food, you know, like they got like, you know, all this food, like just this spread of food in their backpacks, and like, you know, they're like expecting like this like lazy river trip, and then like 5 minutes into like the river ride, like they lost everything, like their backpack, their clothes, like their sandals. I got this great picture of Chi, like he's like piggybacking like his girl like through like grass, and they just, you know, lost all their like shoes and their clothes. And like and then like another year, like Chase came up, and like, you know, he's got his, like he's brought some books with him, you know, to read on the river. You know, he's got some books with him, you know, he's, you know, and then as soon as we start going down, it's like, I think he lost his books, like, you know, like just lost, I think he lost his glasses, and like, and, but I don't know, just like shit like that, you know, like, I mean, it's just like so fun to like, you know, bring people through to Fort Collins, like take them, you know, tubing, take them to the drive-in movies, you know, train, you know, we train, you know, we don't just like, you know, like fuck around, we train a lot, but like we also like have a lot of fun up here too. So like that's kind of like what FOCO Flavor is about, is like, you know, like we want to just like, you know, bring people up here and show them like, you know, like how we kind of ride up here, you know.
Yeah, and you ride down rivers,
ride that river, ride that dirty river, you know.
Oh yeah, it's so awesome, man. I love it, man. We love everything you're doing up there. The FOCO Flavor jams are so much fun, man. I've been to 2 of them so far, and the 2 that I had been to, they were just so dope, man. Being out in the sun and the fun and the different elements of, you know, dance. And I love that you guys had the floors out there, you know, and the you know, like you guys do the age stuff. Like, I love it, man. It's just a whole different feel up there. I love it. So thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Man, yeah, I hope we can do it again this year. Fingers crossed.
I hope so too.
We got the date in with the city. And
what was the date again? Say that again so everyone.
August 28th.
My birthday.
August 28th. Special day. It's a special day. A very
August
special
28th.
day. We're gonna do 28 rounds for you at the jam.
Oh, I'm gonna be 41, but yeah.
21 rounds for you at the jam.
41.
31.
41. Yeah, I'm gonna be 41.
51 rounds at the gym.
56, 8 rounds later. This is all I have. I'm all.
But yeah, I mean, like I'll send the event out there, placeholder, and just keep an eye out. Like, yeah, the week prior to the jam, we'll just set up like a whole week of like festivities and just fun.
Yeah. And if you need help with
like,
the fundraising, if you guys are going to start doing that in the summer, let us know so we can let people know so you get some help up there.
Oh yeah, we're pretty much crowd funded, man. We don't pocket anything. Trust me, it's all coming from like crowdfunding, street performing. A lot of our own pockets go into it. You know.
Yeah, like your pocket. Jackson said Kevin also covers so much of the FOCO flavor from your own personal pocket. Shout out to Jackson. He's over there killing
pockets.
I just barely looked at the message board, but yeah,
it's
shout out
blowing up.
shout out to Leonard. Shout out to Jackson and Philip in there.
Jackson! Michael Jackson.
He said FOCO tastes like Kevin's sweat from holding it down in the scene. That's FOCO flavor.
Ooh. Is that a little sweet and salty?
That Kevin you flavor.
Sweating out that booze on the dance floor.
Oh
you know, it's grimy. It's grimy.
So awesome, dude.
Dirty, but you know, it's real.
Man, hopefully everything pops off this year like everyone's planning. Hopefully we'll see everyone soon and be dancing together and be in a community.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
I like that.
I miss you, bro. I miss you.
Do you have any shout outs for the crew, or want to give any love to anyone out there, like your boo, or
shout out to Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's my boo.
Oh,
I love you, man.
I love these guys.
Man. Shout out to you guys, man. Thank you guys for like doing this stuff, and like this is like my first podcast. Like, I don't know, it's kind of cool. It's like on the line radio.
Yeah, we just do it live so that there's no bullshit. So
cool.
It's not like our interview, it's your interview. But
yeah,
man. Shout out to your whole crew, man. We'll have to get you guys all on here. We at some point get the whole crew on here. I think it'd be pretty fun to do something like that. But thank you for playing your part in the community, man, here in Colorado. I mean, that's what this podcast is about, is spreading knowledge and history for our community to be able to tap in and understand where all the puzzle pieces play their part. You know, every piece plays their part. It's just so important that everyone understands what each piece plays. You know what I'm saying?
Have you guys seen Jackson's documentary?
Yes,
I have actually. Some of it, yeah, I have seen some of it.
Who's on the toilet? I think it's this guy over here.
Somebody's in the beginning of it, right?
Yeah, he's pooping.
He's like, Alex is up. Yeah, he premiered in it.
He's pooping.
Yeah.
Yes, check that out. It's got some good like Colorado history to it. It's just we're so all intertwined. You know, wherever we live, you know, whatever crew you belong to, I feel like at one point, like, you know, a crew's belong to a crew. You know, one person has lived with another person, and yeah, it's crazy how like intertwined, you know, the scene is, and how like, you know, with each other. And it's pretty, I think like in Colorado, you know, we've got a pretty special thing going. Like, you know, I always hear from people that come out of state, they're like, it's just different here, you know, like they're always just like so like blown away by like how like connected and how like cohesive, and you know, how we're actually like all like friends with each other, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's to your guys' generation, man. Everyone that's playing their part these days, man, because we all know it wasn't like that back in the day, you know? And, you know, people like you, people like, you know, Alex and, you know, Chase and everyone, you know, in the factory, everyone, you know, you guys all played a huge part in like making sure that hip hop was being done with love, because it wasn't back then, you know? And now what it is now is because of the younger generation underneath when I grew up. You know, y'all made it with the scene what it is right now, and that's another reason why we do this, because we appreciate what you guys have done. Like, the scene would not be alive if it wasn't for people like y'all.
Hey,
love y'all.
that. To that.
I'd say there was a big gap where.
Damn, you finished a
You
whole
finished
beer.
it.
It took you a whole hour to finish a beer.
Cheers. Moderation. Moderation. That's a
I'm
college.
taking it
That's a
easy.
college drinker right there.
Is that like him, guys, in the chat? Does it usually take him longer? Yeah.
I'm just taking it easy, man. Just taking it easy. Just taking it easy. It's Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday. I'm just taking
Well,
it
have a
easy.
good one.
Taking it easy.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for joining us, dude. We appreciate it.
All right, brother. You guys have a amazing Friday. Have an amazing week. I want to come down to the spot soon.
Yeah, let me know when you're available, and we'll get you going down here. We'll come kick it. We'll hang out. We got a skate park. Bring some skates if you skate.
I skate.
You skate?
Look at my front teeth, bro. I skate.
He said, "Look at my front teeth. I skate."
Look at my front teeth. Look at it. You see that? I skate.
Oh yeah, bring your skateboard. We got a skate park down here, man. We be doing it. Come kick it. Shout out to you and your crew, man. So much love to y'all.
Yes.
Thank you guys for joining the chat, man. Everyone in there, we appreciate you guys. And tune in next week. So we got a good one next week.
Yes.
Or who do we got next week?
Who that?
Dum, dum, dum,
Da,
dum.
da, da.
Who that? Who that? Who that? Who that?
Yes.
We got the worm tank in the house
Yes.
next week.
Next week we have Word Tank on. We're excited about that one. That one's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be so much fun. Yeah, I mean we're gonna be hitting them, lining them up here. We have like a next 2 or 3 months lined out of interviews going. We're so excited. But yeah, man, thanks to everyone tuning in. Everyone have a good, safe weekend, a nice Friday. Enjoy that. Thank you, Kevin, for joining us. We appreciate it. So much love.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Yes. Until next time.
Yeah.
Till
If you want to hang out after, just hang out for a bit. I'm gonna end this.
We're gonna
for-
shut down the live,
Yeah.
but we'll still keep this up.
Yeah.
All right, man. I'm gonna go pee. Hold my beer.
Grab a beer.
Hey, we'll send that link out to Kevin in case he wants to send it to his friends. If you guys want to jump on and say hi to everyone here, we'll open it up for y'all. So Jackson, Phil, everyone else, jump on. We'll send that link here in a second. Love y'all. Peace.